With how many SpongeBob web games there have been for the past several years, it isn't surprising that some have been a little strange. If you were to look beyond the ones you would find on Nick.com, you would be met with a plethora of avant-garde ideas being expressed through this little spongy guy. Some of these are content farm games, such as the notorious dentist and surgery ones, but others are just unusual. Let's take a moment to look at a few of them. Maybe we'll find some hidden gems. To start things off, this is Bad SpongeBob. Oh boy, look at him. That sure is a bad SpongeBob. But this is actually based on Bad Piggies, a popular spin-off of Angry Birds. Some of the levels are even taken directly from it, too. But this game has a somewhat amusing concept. You're given a bunch of materials to build a vehicle for SpongeBob to travel in. Then you have to steer him through an obstacle course while making sure everything works just right. There are also 30 stages, so you're in for a very long ride. Just like SpongeBob. Thing is though, you don't even need the vehicle to survive. You just need SpongeBob to reach the finish line, even if your car explodes and sends him flying to it. But hey, if the goal is to reach the finish line, the ends justify the means. What is the goal anyway? Let's read the description and find out. For residents of the sea, storm no longer a rare occurrence because any inhabitant of the seabed is always ready to deal with the antics of the raging elements. Here are just a SpongeBob heavy falls in such cases, because it weighs less and Sprat can wash waves. So this time, SpongeBob has brought God knows where. Help the guy to build the truck and go home. Well, I think that cleared things up for everyone. But as you go along, you unlock more features that can either propel you forward or help you hover. You can get creative with these, but you really have to design your car a certain way in order to win. If you overload your vehicle with items in the wrong places, something like this can happen. Yes, that is the background music from Pizza Toss. I should also mention that the difficulty is really inconsistent. Some of the early stages can be a real challenge to figure out, but then you have ones where you just kind of roll right to the finish. It's very strange, but it can be fun to mess around in. Still, it's one of the more normal games we'll check out in this video. Moving on, we have Patrick Protects SpongeBob. In this game, you will try to travel and all your travel must end with great success. And with all this, you still will have to try to do everything as it is necessary for victory. Here and now, you will find out how to overcome all obstacles, how to survive the puzzle, and of course, how to get to win no matter what. Luck will always be with you. Sounds very intense for a SpongeBob game. I don't know if I'm up for this one. But how about the in-game description? For SpongeBob's eyes hurt. He won't be able to see anything for a long time. This makes him very worried and sad. His good friend Patrick decided to take him to sunbathe to make him happy, but the beach-hidden sharp garbage and disruptive crab will make SpongeBob frightened. And blind SpongeBob also can't swim, so Patrick need to do everything to make SpongeBob the beach to sunbathe. Okay, that literally doesn't help at all. I guess SpongeBob had eye surgery and can't see, so Patrick needs to guide him to the beach to sunbathe. But watch out for beach-hidden sharp garbage and disruptive crab. But strong Patrick is not afraid of crab attacks. So as Patrick, you move through a stage while SpongeBob walks behind you. When things look safe, you call him and he comes running.
Yay, yay!
Okay, literally, what is that voice? It sounds like someone's pretending to be excited. But as you go along, obstacles appear. You have to be ready to catch the sponge when you guide him over a cliff. You also have to throw trash out of his way, being strategic with where you throw it. And watch out for the disruptive crabs. Ugh, just look at this Captain Crunch crab. It's so disruptive. Though it is funny when you just let SpongeBob die.
Yay, yay!
That sad music really completes it. Some obstacles can be creative, such as this rocket one you need to ride, but the stages get a lot harder when you have to remove trash in record time. And is this a tank in the background? That's really mood setting. This whole game is a war. The idea isn't terrible, but it is strangely executed. In a similar sense, this is SpongeBob Magic Fruit. Now this is surreal. He doesn't look like he belongs in this universe. Collect enough fruit to walk to the house. Oh look, I'm walking to the house. You can't stop me. but the main mechanic is kinda annoying. You avoid critters and stand under trees to wait for fruit to fall, or enemies. You can jump on them though. This is annoying because most of the game is reduced to just standing in one spot and waiting. Some of the obstacles can be interesting to navigate though. But here's the real point of interest. This game has a 2-player mode. That's right, you can move 2 SpongeBobs at a time. Sadly, I'm only one person, so... Grace, get over here. But funnily enough, if one of you dies, you're gone forever, at least until the end of the stage. And make sure you're not playing with a dog or just using both hands for the characters, because navigating obstacles like these teleporting doors will become a lot harder. Again, an interesting idea, but weirdly executed. The element of waiting for the fruit should be removed entirely though. So moving on, let's check out a more interesting one. This is Track the Shovel. I guess it's a game where we have to find a shovel. But actually, the more traditional term used to refer to them would be spatula. Wow, scary. So in this silhouetted intro, we see Plankton steal a spatula from the Krusty Krab. You know, that's actually not a bad idea. Strike at the source. If we're going by all that glitters logic, SpongeBob only uses one spatula anyway. Never mind that one time he got excited when he thought he was getting new spatulas. Never happened. I can't find my shovels. Hey, if you live in the Midwest during winter, this is truly a nightmare scenario. Anyway, this is a platformer where we control an extremely angry SpongeBob and draw our way through obstacles. It's actually kind of fun. Your line is a little blocky, so you can't really be super creative with what you draw, but I like the idea. You can even use it to block enemies that shoot at you. And while this is mostly fun, we do get challenging stages like this one. Not bad, but very out of the ordinary. I'm gonna call spatulas shovels from now on. Another unconventional game with a neat concept is SpongeBob in Space. Let's check it out. Off to a great start here. You know what? I like to see it. Having a vision and using the resources at your disposal to make it. And anyway, this is extremely fun. You jump through this spacey backdrop as you grab Krabby Patties. They bounce you higher. Then once you reach this spaceship, you go to Mars. Let's see how this stage goes. Makes sense to me. The chicken wings will send you flying, so you have to strategically navigate your way through them and the Krabby Patties to reach the exit. I'll be honest, this is actually a ton of fun. Might actually be more fun than a lot of official Flash games we've played here. However, I do have to dock points for the very next stage. This one jump has to be navigated a very certain way, but if you collect things in the wrong order, you have to start over. However, once you reach the top, there's a small Krabby Patty that's almost completely unavoidable, and it sends you back down. And due to how stiff your jump is, some of these regular jumps are harder to make than they should be. Heck, you can even get stuck on an invisible ledge here. Other than that, strangely enjoyable. Not bad. Now here's Knight's Tournament. Look at Sandy. That's a face if I've ever seen one. So basically, you select an opponent between Plankton, Patrick, Squidward, Sandy, and SpongeBob. AKA an evil clone, because you're playing as him. You can block, attack, and jump on platforms as you battle whichever enemy you select. Winner is Bob. Congratulations, Robert. You can even grab power-ups such as coins and patties to recover health. And I honestly can't tell if Squidward is intentionally medieval sounding or just a mistake. Still, fights can be unpredictable, and it's surprisingly well made. Probably could have used a few more stages though, but it isn't bad for what it is. Similarly, SpongeBob Mirror Adventure also has an interesting concept. Not sure why he's Mario though. According to the instructions, we're in a strange forest, despite the houses from downtown Bikini Bottom in the background, but we have to get out of here. Wait, what? I guess SpongeBob has a cold. But the first stage is interesting because you have to wait for this enemy to knock this box into the spike pit. Then you can jump across it. Or not, I guess. But you have to reach the flag at the finish in order to... Okay, that was a jump scare. This first stage is mood setting because it shows just how strategic you'll need to be in order to get through this. In the very next stage, we're introduced to the mirrors. Despite being my worst nightmare in real life, they're very helpful in this game. If you hit Z, you flip the screen and send anyone touching a mirror to a second mirror. You use this mechanic in a few different ways to get through each level. They get harder to figure out as you go along, and some stages require some serious thinking. A lot of strategizing is required to get through this, but it's fine enough. Not bad. But seriously, why was SpongeBob Mario? What's the meaning behind that? But speaking of games with elements from different properties, here's Flappy SpongeBob. Wait. Oh no. I might actually be the worst Flappy Bird player on the planet. I can't do this. Interestingly enough though, this game has a 2-player mode. In single player, you control SpongeBob, but his sprite is massive and hard to squeeze through the pipes. This might be even harder than the usual Flappy Bird. On the contrary, in 2-player mode, the second player controls Patrick and he's so much easier to use. He looks a little goofy, but I get through the obstacles with him so much easier than I do with SpongeBob. Maybe it's because of how small he is by comparison. Still, it's Flappy Bird. For a less rage-inducing game about flying, here's Flying SpongeBob. You use a fan to guide a hang-gliding SpongeBob across a landscape while collecting food. It's similar to Bubble Blower by This Is Pop. You just avoid obstacles and stay afloat. Really easy. But anyway, let's do another simple one. Here's Feed SpongeBob. How do we feed SpongeBob? Good question. I am extremely bad at this. For some reason, you're using a hockey stick to guide a Krabby Patty through a maze. There's also a realistic fish here for some reason. If the burger hits a wall, it bursts like a balloon. So how exactly do you intend to eat that, SpongeBob? But I don't think our spongy friend will be eating anytime soon. This is ridiculously hard. Honestly, this is more rage-inducing than Flappy Bird. I genuinely can't even get through the first level. So yeah, remember when I said we'd check out a simple one? I lied. Let's do Go Ahead SpongeBob instead.
Come on, let's go!
Or not. Yeah, it's a driving game where SpongeBob's the car. Might be on par with Botocross in terms of difficulty. This one jump is almost impossible to make. What's the story behind this anyway? If you did not know, you should know that the water flows are not too boring life. Do not believe me? Then you can be sure and even take part by setting this new positive game. In the underwater world staged a very real race for underwater vehicles. But be careful, these machines develop very high speed and can turn over. Well, that sums it up rather well, doesn't it? So anyway, I feel like these games just aren't strange enough. I was hoping to be genuinely weirded out, so for these last 3, I think I'm gonna dial the weirdness factor to a new extreme. That's right, it's time to look into the realm of flash game content farming. Don't worry, we won't be doing any nasty ones with gore this time around. Using Grace as a censor bar is too much of a hassle. First of all, here's Master Chef. Have you ever wanted to be a Master Chef? Well, I guess this is your chance. So like in most of these games, there's next to no real gameplay involved. You just kinda do what the on-screen instructions tell you to. We gotta make a Krabby Patty, so obviously we need carrots. But no, if you choose the wrong item, SpongeBob cries like he's baby Hazel. Why was that such a thing in these types of games? Now we have to make a salad. Specifically a healthy one. Gotta bring out the ketchup here. What? What do you mean that's wrong? We use tomatoes. Might as well add a little extra. Now fruit salad. Yummy yummy. Excuse me, SpongeBob. Why are you eating your house? And that's it. Wasn't that exhilarating? The most thrilling experience you've ever had? Well, the fun never ends because we have a series to follow up on. If you remember our last Weird SpongeBob Games video, you might recall the notorious Baby SpongeBob series. As it so happens, we didn't check out all of the games in that beloved franchise, so let's pay it a little visit, shall we? This is Baby SpongeBob Washing Clothes. Isn't that such an exciting title? A game where we get to do laundry, everyone's favorite activity. And games like this really never miss an opportunity to refer to its character as cute when it really isn't necessary. Though I will say, at least this game doesn't have freaking gore in it. Seriously, why are so many of these games just loaded with nasty stuff? The Hoff. Like the Hasselhoff? Wow, this game actually made a reference to the show. That's rare. Anyway, you sort the white clothes in a different hamper than the colored ones. I guess that requires at least some amount of brain work. Then you drag everything into the washing machine one by one and wash your clothes. It's as mindless as it gets. The bar is so low for baby SpongeBob games that I consider this acceptable solely because it doesn't involve open wounds or injecting the baby with a syringe. Still, this last one seems to be by a different creator, so let's see if we can say the same for it. Welcome to SpongeBob Baby Caring. Look at this thing. I mean, one thing I'll give the Baby SpongeBob series is that SpongeBob actually seems to be a baby in it. Not like Baby Hazel where she's a toddler and speaks strikingly advanced English. But in this, you drag an item to Baby SpongeBob to fix whatever mood he's in. Whoa, he just swallowed that entire apple whole. I don't think that's good for a baby. I also love how a jellyfish just swims in and terrorizes the child. Common household pest, am I right? There's also an interesting segment where you drag the mouse to blow bubbles. Then you have to dress him up. I'm not sure why, but this bubble outfit thing froze the whole game when I chose it the first time. Then I had to do all these extremely difficult segments all over again. I mean, it's just so hard just being told what to click on. But yeah, you dress up the baby and that's it. I will say though, this evidently had more effort put into it than any other Baby SpongeBob game. At least they shook up the gameplay in a few instances. But either way, Baby SpongeBob will always be a very strange phenomenon on the internet, along with these strange content farm-esque games as a whole. Just be glad these were some of the tamer ones. But either way, I think that's about all the weirdness I can handle for one day. It's very overwhelming. So I think that's gonna do it for this video. Different from the stuff we normally look at, but it's good to shake things up every now and again. Though I might go back to that SpongeBob Space game. That was kind of fun. But anyway, for the time being, be sure to subscribe, follow me on the accounts in the description below, and tune in to our next installment. Thank you for joining me. I will see you in the next memory.